From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Don Mitchell. Prime Minister Mark Carney is on his way to Egypt and will join other world leaders in a summit surrounding the U.S.-backed ceasefire and hostage exchange taking place in Gaza this weekend. The PM heading to the city of Sharm el-Sheikh, where Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi says he will co-chair a peace summit. Heads of government and representatives, including members from France, Germany, and the UK, are expected to join in on a truce, which has halted fighting in the region between Israel and Hamas. President Donald Trump is also setting off for the Middle East to celebrate the U.S.-brokered ceasefire and hostage deal. The president expected to urge Middle East allies to seize the opportunity to build on a durable peace in the volatile region. Israeli officials say they expect the 20 living hostages to be released early tomorrow morning. Ian Pinnell is in Tel Aviv with more.
The Red Cross, the Red Crescent, will go in, get the survivors from Hamas, take them to the IDF, where they will need extensive medical, psychological treatment and support, and the family members will be there to be reunited with their loved ones.
Meanwhile, on Gaza's borders, preparations are underway to ramp up aid entering the war-battered territory. After a brutal wildfire season in Canada, several governments and nonprofit groups are now reflecting on the damage and evacuations several municipalities had to endure.
This past season, the Canadian Red Cross registered 52,000 people across the prairies, Ontario, and Atlantic Canada, the agency's largest domestic operation in recent memory. The length of the wildfire season also stood in sharp contrast to recent years. In Manitoba, where some 32,000 people fled their homes, fires started earlier in the spring and kept popping up through most of the summer. The evacuations called for several hundred flights to get people out of remote communities, mass shelters, including those set up at an indoor soccer complex and a main convention center in Winnipeg, and hotel rooms for many evacuees, with some sent to Niagara Falls. Naira Ahmed, The Canadian Press.
And finally, Tron powered its way to the top of the box office in North America this weekend.
I would like you to meet Ares, the ultimate soldier. He's biblically strong, lightning fast, supremely intelligent.
The third entry in Disney's sci-fi franchise did fall short of the company's expectations. Despite some favorable reviews, the new film starring Jared Leto, Greta Lee, and Jeff Bridges earned just $33.5 million. Comscore says the big-budget project arrives 15 years after Tron Legacy. It opened to $44 million, eventually grossing more than $400 million globally. And it wasn't the only new release this weekend that struggled to connect. Roofman, starring Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst, opened its second place with just a modest $8 million debut. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, we're just a couple of hours away from the Toronto Blue Jays hosting the Seattle Mariners in Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. The Jays coming off 3 days of rest after eliminating the New York Yankees in 4 games in the AL Division Series. Meanwhile, Seattle ousted Detroit in a 15-inning decisive Game 5 win to advance. Just a single game in the NHL tonight, with the Washington Capitals strolling into Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Rangers. The NHL Department of Safety not wasting any time coming down on Vancouver Canucks defenseman Tyler Myers, fining him $2,500 for slashing Edmonton Oilers forward Connor McDavid in last night's 3-1 Oilers win. And in the NFL this afternoon, the Los Angeles Rams finished the first half with a goal line stand, and then Matthew Stafford guided them to a pair of touchdowns to begin the third quarter in a 17-3 victory over the Baltimore Ravens. The Rams weren't at their best, but they played against a spiraling Baltimore team that's without injured quarterback Lamar Johnson for a second straight weekend. From the Canadian Press, I'm Don Mitchell.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.